Today I am going to be covering my favorite way to level up Order of Souls. And as someone who is level 450, I feel like I'm qualified to talk about it. And since I got so many comments the last time I made this about how you guys don't like the roar, this entire video is going to be avoiding the Devil's Roar, so don't worry. But kicking things off, before you even leave for the outpost, you have to do a couple of things first. The first of which is raising up an Order of Souls flag, which if you don't know, you have to be level 15 to purchase. And then second, you are going to want to buy as many cannonballs as you possibly can, even collect them from the barrels on the island. Now, I'm not really going to cover too much what I did to get to grade 5, as I have another video on my channel covering it fully. And if you guys have a different method you like to use, you can go ahead and use that. But for me personally, I just started my journey with 2 Sea Fortress raids, touching all the loot, and then diving, not selling any of it, because in my opinion, it's not worth the time selling the loot from the Sea Fortresses when all you're trying to do is raise Emissary. However, after the 2 raids, it was time to actually start the method. And this is my favorite method in the game outside of the Roar, so it technically doesn't get you the most experience because it is outside of the Roar, but it's probably still the best one because most people will enjoy it. And it starts with diving to a skeleton encampment. If you've been following the channel for a little while, or if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? Subscribe right now. Only if you want to, of course. Also, feel free to like the video. But if you've been following the channel, you know how much I love the skeleton encampment raids. These give incredible amounts of loot, all geared specifically to the faction that you dove for. And they're very simple and unlike any other event in the game. I love that you have to go down below the fort, and I like that there's a few different parts between turning the wheel, and you have to light up the different images and knowing where they are. And then you also have to fight skeletons. I think it's all super cool and probably the best addition they've ever made. But on top of all of that, it's incredibly quick. This whole event probably as a solo should only take you like 3 to 5 minutes. And you're getting a ton of treasure from it. Now, I do want to say, if your main goal is to not level up Order of Souls as fast as possible, but also make as much gold as possible, then you don't even want to dive to these actually. You want to just go do them naturally because the orb that you sell will get you more gold than if you were to dive for a specific faction to this place and just get the specific loot. Because the orb sells for 50,000 gold and the loot you get for the specific faction does not sell for that much. However, it does give you far more reputation, so you kind of have to decide which is more important to you. And the reason I love doing this as a solo also is I like just not caring about my boat. I will say I've never sunk while I've been down in one of these, but at the same time I have sunk people who were down at them, so it's a pretty low chance, but it could still happen. But it's only a few minutes, so check the horizon before you go down, you'll be fine. But once you finish this, of course, you're going to bring the loot and put it on your boat, and then you are going to set up a Skeleton Lord voyage. This will take you to one of the nearby islands. I like doing this over by Port Merrick, but you can do it wherever. And if you've been following exactly what I've done in this video, then you won't quite be grade 5 just yet. So you'll get to the Skeleton Lord, and now you're about to find out why you needed all the cannonballs. Now, sometimes the skeletons aren't able to be shot with cannons from the boat. I got very lucky here, unfortunately they were. However, it is actually still faster to take a sword and blowpipe onto the island and make light work of the skeletons that spawn that way. This is probably going to be the longest part of the whole thing. There should be like 7, maybe 8 waves of skeletons total, and then you will finally reach the Skeleton Lord, and the Skeleton Lord is made of paper. They die so easy if you are a solo, so of course what you want to do is lure them down towards your boat. And you can do this a few ways, just make sure you're shooting at them if your boat is parked far away. Which brings me to a great point, you do want to park your boat a bit of a ways away from the island so that you can hit lower cannon shots still and you're not just shooting over the Skeleton Lord's head. But lure them down to the boat, and as you're swimming to the boat, shoot at them. This will make sure that they stay on the shore and don't walk back to their original spot. And then just lay into them with cannons. In this video, I only hit her with like 2 cannons, given I did blow up some kegs, so it should probably only be like 10 to 15 cannonballs total. And the coolest part is that when the Skeleton Lord dies, guess what? your boat is already parked right there and you can just quickly harpoon the treasure. Now, playing as a solo, I generally like to sell after this point. Following the method exactly, this exact point is where you will hit grade 5, so you can sail over to any outpost and sell your loot at full value. Now, some people might tell you to get the emissary quest. I personally believe the emissary quest for the skeletons or the Order of Souls is not worth doing. It actually probably needs a rework in my opinion. So what I recommend is one of two things. You can either dive to another skeleton encampment for Order of Souls and then rinse and repeat the exact same process, or you can just do Order of Souls skeleton lords, sailing around the same area from island to island, and every time you see a bottle quest, do get that, because sometimes they can be skeleton lords, and if they are, you're gonna get an insane amount of loot. But that was a quick refined version of a video I've kind of already made, but hopefully this will serve more people better. If you guys enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, or even all three down below. As always, we'll see you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.